All right, welcome everybody back to another episode of the Big Doug and Carmi Show. George, we're going to try something a little bit different today. We are going to pull up the underdog fantasy and we're going to run through one of these puppy leagues and see what it's all about.
Absolutely.
So we have not done this before. So if you're watching at home, we hope you're watching at home. Please bear with us in case we look like doofuses here on our first run.
Absolutely. Give us a little bit of grace. And Doug, I'm pumped for this, man. This is going to be awesome. So this is something we're going to be doing probably throughout the year. We're going to be kind of putting some drafts together and kind of work on some things, apply some of the fantasy concepts that we've been learning over the past couple of weeks. So let's jump on into it, man. So we're looking at underdog fantasy. We're going to join the puppy league. We're going to start off with some small $5 entry league with 30 seconds per pick. This will be fun, man. This is our first one, but hopefully we get better at this, winning some money. But I'm looking forward to that. So let's give it a shot. So let's jump on in.
I think most people will know George, but obviously one of the beauties of these underdog leagues is it's set it and forget it.
Mm-hmm.
So for those that maybe are new to this, the beauty of best ball is we're gonna pick a team, and then automatically underdog will set the lineup that gives you no leaving a 40 spot on the bench here.
Exactly. Right? Exactly. And Doug, like we've been talking with all these different fantasy people on our show recently. This is the wave, man. This is kind of the new thing. It's kind of the benefit of having fun and drafting the team that you want, but it's not the stress and the maintenance of worrying about it week to week, right? We're kind of having fun with the team, putting it together. We're walking in right now, Doug. I don't know if you see it with the number 7 overall pick. So that's something to have in the back of our mind. So it'll be fun.
You like 7? Do you have a preference, George? We ask people on the show all the time where do they like to draft from. One of the beauties of these with us is we usually ask questions and aren't necessarily giving opinions. So I'm interested. Do you have a preference here? You like the 6 spot?
I think the 6th spot, the 7th spot's kind of a no man's land. Like I think talking to people that we've had on the show and me personally, I kind of like being the book and kind of setting the tone for the round, right? Like if you're the first or second overall pick, you can kind of set the tone. You hopefully get that snake draft, kind of get another player as well. So I like being on the ends, but I won last year at pick 6. I'm pretty happy with it. I got Tyreek Hill last year, and
he did brag well. There, George.
Humble brag, exactly right. So it was good. So you can make it work no matter what you do. So
looking ahead here, George.
Mm-hmm.
We're at the 7 spot. We're looking at Bijan Robinson, Breece Hall, AJ Brown, Puka Nacua, Garrett Wilson, Jahmyr Gibbs.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts there? What do you like?
Yeah, so that's pretty interesting, right? So I think, tell me if I'm wrong. What is our joint team?
Yeah,
we might want to jump on if Bijan Robinson's kind of floating there, or Breece Hall's floating around. We want to jump on that, or it depends. Justin Jefferson's still hanging around. I don't know why that's even happening, but if he's there he goes. But what I talked to with Matt Harmon and Pete Oververts, we were talking about them on our previous shows. Getting wide receivers is so big, especially in a PPR league. And Doug, we're on the board, I think, right now. Bijan's there. I wouldn't mind just getting a running back to kind of not worry about it. He's projected for 240 points. The other options are AJ Brown and Puka Nacua. Marvin Harrison's too rich for my blood. So what are you thinking?
If you like Bijan here, I'm fine with that.
Let's do it. Let's add him to our group. So what Doug and I are going to do is we're going to alternate rounds. We're going to kind of talk it out while we're on the show, but then the final decision is going to go to Doug in the second round. So I picked Bijan Robinson, running back in the first round. Hopefully he's versatile enough to kind of have that, that pass and catching ability to kind of rack those points up.
Yeah, I've got an absurd amount of Jahmyr Gibbs in a lot of leagues.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to actually be using him the way that he's supposed to be used, sort of like using him at the end of last year to be in for a big one. It's if I can get Jahmyr Gibbs, guys like that. Actually, Bijan Robinson is kind of in the same mold. Like if you're trying to put a stack together, Kirk Cousins probably isn't. You'd probably not having to get there until 15, 16 to put one of the stacks together, which I kind of like. Drake London's coming fairly cheap, I think. And this may be finally the year that Pitts is what everybody hopes he will. One thing we know about Kirk Cousins is he feeds tight ends.
He does. And I think it's
Washington.
Exactly. And the new offensive coordinator, Zach Robinson, coming over to Atlanta, more of like the Kyle
Mhm.
Shanahan, Sean McVay mold. He's going to throw the ball a lot. It's going to be more of a dynamic offense of what Atlanta had in previous years. So I like that as well.
It's interesting. Obviously, it'd be nice to get a wide receiver here, and maybe we'll go. Drake London just came off the board, huh?
Oh, yeah. You look at that stack. That's interesting.
I had thought about that. He's out now.
Yeah. So we're looking Chris Olave, Brendan Ayuk, Saquon Barkley, Devontae Adams, Jalen Waddle. What are your thoughts? It's going to be coming hot and heavy.
Yeah,
Saquon Barkley is intriguing, but I think we might have to chase after a wide receiver here. What are your
I
thoughts
think
on that?
I think I probably will chase after one here.
Okay.
I like the idea of Jalen Waddle here. I think.
I like that as well. I think it's more of an explosive offense.
Yep.
Olave is intriguing, but I like the whole, Tua, the whole Tyreek Hill, and Michael Daniels in the second years, and add another element there. So I like it off the
Yeah,
board.
and this again, you mentioned to it again. It kind of gives us opportunities down the road to put some of these
Stacks
duos
together.
and stacks together. And I got to remember that two players is a duo and three makes a stack.
Mm-hmm.
So we're pick up. How many picks now does it say? So 9 picks away.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I don't mind going. I don't mind. So we've talked to a couple of folks, right, that say you can't get enough wide receivers early on. And part of the reason that you do these best balls, and I find them to be helpful,
Mm-hmm.
is that when it comes time to do your home league or whatever, you'll kind of know where these guys are coming off the board at.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
How do I know who's available in round 10? Well, you do a bunch of these best balls and you start feeling like if I go, say you wanted to go quarterback early. Well, how does that set up the board for you coming down the rest of the way? So that's one of the beauties about kind of going through some of these.
Absolutely. And Doug, that's honestly one thing that I found very impressive, like talking to all our guests. These dudes run like thousands and hundreds of
Yeah.
simulations over and over again. And they start putting together basically like, I've found this out, I've figured it out. And they kind of like that's what they can find. They chase the data. They're constantly looking at numbers, which I'm very impressed by.
Yep. And this, of course, put a couple bucks on and play these things, but there's plenty of these over on Sleeper where you can just do mock drafts that don't cost you anything, that you can still get the information that you're looking for
Mm-hmm.
without having to put a couple bucks on. But we don't mind the sweat, do we, George?
No, not at all. We love it. It's awesome. So we're back up on. We have 4 picks. We got Bijan Robinson, Jalen Waddle. I think it's a nice little start to our team. Waddle was a little bit disappointing for me last year. He's kind of feast or famine. We'll see how that goes.
Mhm.
A-Chain's on the board. I don't know if you want to do that little double dip with the stacking with the Miami offense. I think he just came off the board now. Metcalf, Diggs.
DK Metcalf guy. I don't think I've ever drafted a share of DK Metcalf. I don't know why. I don't have anything against him personally. I just one of those guys I don't ever find myself drafting.
He's he's steady. He's not going to blow you out every week, but the one thing about him is he has great red zone targets. That's one thing that people really like about him. He's the big body, and they use him often. So we're on the board, Doug. Cooper Kupp, Derrick Henry, Michael Pittman, Sam Laporta, Zay Flowers. Tank Dell's on the board. I kind of like that. I find that pretty intriguing. The running backs are kind of, not Derrick Henry, Travis Etienne. We see Zay Flowers. I might go chase after Tank Dell here. What are your thoughts on that? We have 8 seconds.
Whatever you like.
Let's do it. I like it. I want to get involved with that offense, and I think he's good value here. Tank Dell to our team. Let's give it a shot. I like that. He was on fire too. I don't know if you ever had it. I had him last year on one of my teams, and he definitely is going to be. He's wide receiver 1. Everyone's really into Stephon Diggs, and I think Tank Dell is a good value pick there.
That's one of those interesting offenses, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where it could change week to week on who ends up getting the hot hand there.
Mm-hmm. A first quarterback comes off the board, Jalen Hurts. Do you have any interest in chasing quarterback here, Doug, or what are your thoughts?
I probably will wait at least another round.
Okay.
The way we've got it set up here, I think. Let's see. What's the overall board look like?
overall board.
I'd love for Laporta to still be there, but I can't imagine that he still is. How many picks are we off? 4?
3 more now. Josh Allen just came off the board. Travis Kelce came off before Laporta, which is not surprising. Trey McBride off the board before Laporta. That's very interesting.
Yeah,
So there's a run on
interesting.
tight ends. Okay.
Yep. I actually am intrigued by the idea of Amari Cooper this year.
Okay.
If Deshaun Watson at all has a bounce back season, which frankly he hadn't been good in a while, so I mean I'm not sure that you'd bet on that. But if he does, getting Amari Cooper at 41.7, I mean that's pretty good.
There's our boy Laporta is on the board, and if you want to chase after him,
yeah, let's go for it.
I like it, man. We have a nice little stacked team so far. This is a pretty solid. I like it. All right, Laporte, that's fantastic. Bijan Robinson, Jalen Waddle, and Tank Dell, and Sam Porter. I like that a lot.
Well, of course, the key also with the best ball is you're just trying to get as much talent as you can, right? Because some of these guys aren't going to have because it's based off the best score. It helps to have some of these guys that give you a little wiggle room.
There's some interesting QBs on the market too. We have 9 picks. That. Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson carried me last year to a
championship. Me in a couple of two. Yeah.
He's awesome. Anthony Richardson is solid. We had Jaden Daniels late if you want to kind of hang on for a little while. Travis Etienne is a pretty solid running back. Is pretty versatile as well. Our boy Terry McLaurin is up there as well. I see him.
I've got a ridiculous amount of Jaden Daniels shares too.
Exactly. You do. I'm jealous of that one league we have together. You got to that 101.
And not because we're homers for the home team, but because Jaden Daniels got every chance to be a top 5 fantasy.
Exactly. I agree with that 100%. So, Doug, what are you thinking? We kind of have the base of our team set up. 2 wide receivers, a running back, and a tight end. Are we looking at simply best player available? Are we trying to get a wide receiver here?
I think the way we've set it up definitely leaves us for best player available if we want to go that way.
Okay. 6 picks away. Lamar Jackson off the board. Let me take a look at some quarterback. Anthony Richardson. So Lamar Jackson was the unicorn for me. I want to chase after him because I feel like he can carry a team on his own. But now it's kind of like it's getting a little bit muddled. Like I don't know if I have to chase after Anthony Richardson. I can wait for him a little bit later on. Jaden Daniels later on. If I miss out on those guys, maybe get Tua to stack with Waddle or something. Mahomes is still floating around too. Terry McLaurin, Mark Andrews, Josh Jacobs, Keenan Allen, James Cook, Calvin Ridley. Any of those guys kind of pop out to you?
I mean, I've got no problem taking Terry if he's in line with where we're at, simply because we know we can come back and put one of those stacks together later on.
That's true.
If we ended up going with Jaden.
He's BPA right now. He's the best player available.
He's probably not going to be there when we pick. Well, we got to fade one guy there.
So we're on the board. Terry McLaurin. So we have Terry, Anthony Richardson, James Cook, Calvin Ridley, CJ Stroud, Xavier Worthy, and then we're going to have, I think we have maybe 6 picks until we're up again. So Scary Terry as our wide receiver 3. It's pretty solid, I think.
For sure.
Let's do it.
He's got a chance to have a really good year. I mean, you figure he's a 1,000-yard guy every year with somebody you don't want him throwing the ball. So, I mean, now that he's got somebody that ought to be able to get him downfield better, it could be an interesting year for him.
I agree.
That Bijan Robinson pick's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it will be. We can once we're done with the draft, we can kind of look back and see who we potentially missed out on. We can look at that and kind of reflect a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, there's James Cook's on the board. He just came off the board. I was going to say he's pretty intriguing. Xavier Worthy's intriguing to me. Joe Mixon, it's a high-powered offense to get a good running back on because we probably do need one more running back just in case. Roba Dunze, George Kittle's on the board real late. Lad McConkey, David Montgomery for Detroit. There's some intriguing options up here. We have about 4 picks away. One thing that I want to throw out there, Doug, is that like with our fantasy conversations, I fil like when you're looking at this point of the draft, you're aiming for that home run, right? Like we kind of like the first couple rounds, just trying to get those baselines, just kind of like that structure to your team. Now it's those dart throws, right? So maybe Xavier Worthy is that lottery ticket, or Joe Mixon, or something like that. So I don't know. What are your thoughts?
No, I completely agree with you, George. We're definitely at a trying to smash a home run here. I like the idea of, well, I was going to say I like the idea of George Kittle, and he quickly came off the board.
Yeah,
Um,
Kittle would be fun.
I think Lad McConkey's going to get a ton of targets out there. He could end up wide receiver one on
Mm-hmm.
the team by the time it's all done. I find Alvin Kamara to be interesting. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure exactly what they got going on down there, but that could be a bounce back spot for him.
We're on the board right here. They just took Joe Mixon and Worthy back to back. Those are the two picks that I wanted. So this is always intriguing, right? It always gets interesting there.
What quarterbacks are available now?
Kyler Murray, Joe Burrow, Dak Prescott, Jaden Daniels. Want to jump on Daniels? We have about 10 seconds. So do you want to get a wide receiver potentially?
Um,
You got to hurry.
Go Jaden Daniels.
All right, let's do it. Let's have some fun. I think it's a little bit early, but let's have some fun with it. Screw it. Why not, right?
Definitely very early. We're probably going to get in trouble for picking him that early, but that's
the problem with 30-second clocks. Like, oh shit, let's get some real quick.
That's
I mean,
right.
to me, it was either Jaden Daniels or I would have taken maybe Brian Thomas, kind of like the jump on that Trevor Lawrence with that. He might be potentially wide receiver one there, but we're all good. That's fun. Jaden Daniels, I mean, he's a kind of a dark horse falling. People kind of are into him right now.
What's the overall board looking like now? We're about 10 picks away.
Yep, this is your pick too. So we have Roma Dunze, Kenneth Walker, Jordan Addison, Brian Thomas, Keon Coleman, David Montgomery, Kamara. We talked about him. Kyler's still on the board if you want to have double up on quarterback for whatever reason.
This is where it kind of gets interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you're in this range. I don't think I've ever drafted Kenneth Walker in a draft either. I guess I'd stay away from Seattle players. I don't know why. Maybe that's because the quarterback situation was not good for a couple of years.
Defensive coach as well there right now, Mike McDonald. It's not necessarily a high explosive offense anymore.
That may actually bode well for Kenneth Walker, but
that's true. David Montgomery's intriguing. It's like I think that I want to get a piece of that Detroit offense. We already have Laporta, so maybe that's a good stack as well with David Montgomery. I mean, I'm throwing it out there. This is your pick, but I feel like Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be the receiver back. Like, it's going to be the true weapon, but David Montgomery might be the hammer on the red zone potentially. So that's an option, but maybe it's expensive as an RB2, but I don't really.
Who's at the top of the list now? This is the current list. Addison.
Yeah.
Next up. Okay.
Yeah.
And what do the quarterbacks look like?
Murray, Burrow, Prescott, Love, Williams, Purdy, Lawrence, Tua. There's some good quarterbacks that are deep, actually. Deshaun Watson.
We can definitely come back on that one.
Okay.
And the tight ends.
Ferguson, Bowers. Yeah, that's your boy, but we can wait on him for a little bit.
Sure.
Let's take a look. Hawkinson is interesting.
Yeah, that's down the list there.
Yeah, so we're looking at wide receiver and running back, looks like, right? So let's kind of focus on that. Deontay Johnson might be wide receiver one in Carolina, but I'm telling you what, I get burnt by him every single year. I'm not a big Deontay Johnson guy.
I'm not either.
Montgomery off the board.
Just click the wide receiver button.
Okay. Christian Watson. That's kind of lightning in the bottle.
It is.
People are talking about Curtis Samuel. He's kind of floating around there too. I think this is going to be our fast one, by the way. We're going to have like a pick and then whatever.
Like one quickly after.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because we're in our longer wait now.
Yeah.
Christian Watson's intriguing to me, man. We're actually on the board, so I don't know what you're thinking. It's your pick.
I like the kid from Seattle.
The running back?
No,
Smith and Juba?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's do it. I like him too. I have him in a dynasty league. Well, hopefully he starts showing out a little bit.
I think it's going to be a big year for him.
My worry with him is that there's a kind of a glut, right? There's Lockett and Metcalf. Like, it's kind of like it's a very talented pool. So I wonder how much. Yeah. How much is that a good thing or a bad thing? But you never know. We'll see. I thought he was the best wide receiver last year in the class. So it's always good to get involved with that.
There's there are a couple of teams like that, right? Where you've got, I mean, Houston is one. I think that will be interesting. Detroit's going to be an interesting one. If you consider, like you say, that Jahmyr Gibbs is definitely going to take receiving targets, and Laporta is. If Jameson Williams at all has a decent year, it's a lot of ball to go around.
So I think this is my pick coming up. Maybe we're 6 picks away. I think DeAndre Swift might be kind of intriguing in Chicago. I think he's going to be a pretty big body down low, and I think it's going to be a pretty good offense to hitch my wagon to. Jonathan Brooks is supposed to get a lot of touches as a Carolina running back, but he's coming off an ACL injury. So, I haven't kept up with the mini camp, but he's supposed to be ready by week 1, but he's coming off of an injury. DeAndre Swift is kind of intriguing to me here, but I don't really know if he has a receiving upside. Raheem Mostert's there. That's pretty interesting. Everyone loves A-Chain, but Mostert had 21 touchdowns last year, which is very interesting.
Yeah,
people like Pollard.
That Dolphins offense is similar too, right? Like they've got a lot of different people that can.
What do you thought? Give me some feedback. So I'm thinking DeAndre Swift or Mostert. So we should maybe jump in on Swift, kind of as clear running back 1, and then maybe circle back on Mostert potentially. Or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I like Swift.
All right, let's do it. This is fun, Doug. I'm going to be very addicted to this, I think.
I told you.
It's very good. I like it a lot.
Yeah, because you can sit around and do this and be paying super attention, and you can put on a $3 draft and say, if I miss around, my bad, fellas, but it was $3, so it's not
of course
jamming you up. But no, these are fun, and it shows you like different ways. Like if you start running back, you better start collecting receivers real fast.
Absolutely. That's one thing that I took away from so far. Like I mentioned earlier on the show, like walking away with 4 receivers in the first 7 rounds. You got to maximize that because the running backs are going to be around later, which is what I'm seeing in this draft. And some quarterbacks are going to be around later too. Like I think we got Jane Daniels like maybe around early, but I think he wouldn't have been around the next round if that makes any sense. I think he's kind of like we got him at the right time. We jumped ahead of it a little bit, but
and if you got a guy that you think is going to make your team better, you pick them. You don't like that ADP. When we've heard people tell us this a couple of times, right? That ADP is important to keep your eye on, but don't wish you had gone a different direction because of 5 ADP points.
Exactly right. You get the player.
Like
exactly.
If you like Jayden Daniels and you draft him 10 ADP spots ahead, I don't think people are going to crush you for that. And if they do, it's not their team anyway. So
exactly right. It's supposed to be. First of all, it's all about like fantasy football is your conviction, right? You basically pick players you believe in, first of all, and second of all, it's supposed to be fun, man. Like for me, there is that fun component to it, right? You're watching the games on Sunday, you're rooting for players, so you want them out there. So I got that.
Well, and the one thing that, because I personally don't play Madden nearly as much as I used to, one thing that fantasy football does, it gives me a broader understanding of the league as a whole.
Absolutely.
When I played Madden, I knew every player in the league. I knew where they went to college because you see them up on the screen all the time. I'll be doing drafts on Madden. We don't have that quite as much anymore if you're not playing. At least I don't. And so this kind of gives me that back, which I like.
Absolutely. Mostert off the board, Pollard off the board. Those are 2 people that are on my vision. I think this is your pick anyway. Yeah, I mean, there was 2 that's floating around. I kind of saw that if we wanted to kind of get that.
Yeah, I don't know how far off he is. I think I'd rather go. Yeah, he's still way down there a little bit.
Yeah, he is.
I think I'd like. What's the overall number here?
We are in. Oh, we're actually on the clock right now, Doug. Shoot.
I know, that's what I thought.
13 seconds. Brian Robinson, Romeo Dubes, Caleb Williams. We could get 2 of real quick. Purdy. 3 seconds, Doug.
Yeah, just take 2 is fine.
Shoot, I don't know if I want to get to him in time.
That's we need to.
What did they give us?
I don't know.
Who did we get? We got Njoku. Shit. Okay.
Well, frankly, that's who I wanted to draft anyway, so that works out.
Okay, cool. That works.
That was the next tight end on the board, so that was fine. What we need to do here is
go to queue.
put some guys in the queue.
Yeah, let's do that.
We don't have to worry about that so much anymore because I don't. How many
Brian,
picks do we have left? Just two
Brian
or three.
Robinson, I'll throw him out there. Gus Edwards is interesting. Blake Corum's interesting to me.
Tua's down there.
Tua. All right. Eckler.
We've talked about this a little bit on the show. George, who do you like out of those two Washington backs?
So I had Brian Robinson last year, and he was solid, man. People kind of like he was very underrated. He was, last year with a pretty crazy offense and a pretty pass-dominated offense, he was still like getting me fantasy points every single week.
I think he was RB 14 last year, and when you consider that they did not run the ball last year.
I think he's the safer pick. I think Brian Robinson is the safer pick. He's the guy I enjoy watching more week to week, so I would probably take him. But I can see the upside in Eckler. But Eckler's a dart throw, man, and I would take Brian Robinson, to be honest with you. I took Eckler in the first round last year and freaking broke my heart. So maybe that's why I'm bitter right now. But Brian Robinson, I would take him this year. Romeo Dubes is intriguing as well. I think we should take Tua here, man. Honestly, I think when we come back around,
that's fine.
Because I think because
we're up next anyway, so
we're all about or Cousins, but I think Tua's fun with the stack. I think.
Yeah.
Because let's do it. Let's pull Tua. Cool. Yeah, we should have done the Q. That's a learning point for next time. But we still got the guy we wanted. We're good.
It actually no bull that really it was who I think Njoku's lineup for a good year this year.
Mm-hmm. And considering it's best ball, it's nice to kind of sprinkle the talent around a little bit. So let's say Laporte has a bad week and Njoku does a great weekend. Njoku was on fire, man. For those of you that played fantasy last year, obviously if you're watching the show, you're into fantasy. And Njoku was like a league winner at the end of the year. It's going crazy. So having that in our back pocket doesn't hurt.
Of course, that was when Joe Flacco was throwing him the ball.
That's true. Big money Joe.
That's right.
Let's take a look. Maybe add some. I'm going to add some things to the queue. Tell me if I'm crazy. I'm going to start throwing some Green Bay investments off the board, but that's sniped instantly. But I was going to get some Packers on there, but I guess not. Let's take a look. If you see anybody, let me know. I'll mark it as well. Zach Charbonnet is kind of he's a handcuff, but we have him. I can put him potentially there. Ricky Pearsall is going to have a pretty solid year in San Francisco potentially.
I'm curious to see how the season goes for Nick Chubb. I wonder if he's one of those guys, if you're able to stash on one of your regular benches, if he's not like a end of the year winner type guy for you once he's back and healthy. I hope he's back.
Is he even on the board right now? That'd be really intriguing too. Let me see if he's probably way
gone. Yeah, he is. He's up there a little further. Right there.
Yeah,
138.
Nick Chubb, dude. This is basically his rolling the dice anyway, so that might be a great pick.
That dude could definitely be winning stuff in the last couple of.
And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for that home run, right? So I have no problem with that. So if he's around, dude, let's go for that one. I like that a lot. Good eye, especially in best ball.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Take a look. I'm just kind of throwing some people that are cool.
TJ Hawkinson at 145 seems extremely low.
Yeah, I throw him up there too, just in case.
I guess that's because of the volatility at the quarterback spot.
Yeah, there's some good depth at quarterback. We already have two. We're good. I'm glad we got two. I like the shooting for the high upside with Jaden Daniels, but also having that safe floor with two. As we covered our bases pretty good there. We're on the clock. Oh shit! Dude.
I do like those two.
Okay, whatever. We got Austin Eckler. I didn't realize, dude. The board flew, man. I missed on that. My bad, dude.
That's all right.
We're gonna 30
seconds can go fast.
Real fast because I was looking at the board. Yeah, let's get Nick Chubb if he comes around. Hopefully we didn't miss out on that.
Yeah, probably not. I bet you Chubb's going to be one of those people that
people are afraid of.
I think I would imagine. I could totally see that. So yeah, that's what I said. We're about 30 minutes. So like you can get through one of these best balls in about 40, 45 minutes, depending on how long each person takes to. If they're like us and take 30 seconds each time, it's going to take longer.
Exactly. Yeah, I think people are sleeping on Nick Chubb. Hopefully we'll get him 5 picks from now. So if Nick Chubb's off the board, who are you intrigued by? I have Ricky Pearsall, Hawkinson, Charbonnet, MRQ, but is there anyone else you're intrigued by? Jahan Dotson's floating around
I
there.
see Jahan Dotson there. I think he's got a chance for a really big year.
I'll put him in the queue as well.
And again, that's not because it's the Burgundy and Gold show, but I just cannot believe that I just think his first year is going to be a lot closer to who he actually is.
I agree.
You know,
I think he wasn't used well, and I think he understands that and doesn't feel too. He's upset by that. Nick Chubb came off the board. Damn, we missed out on that. It's all good though. That's our first one.
Picks too.
Yep.
Did you see? I guess Dan Quinn is the antithesis of EB. Did you see that he wouldn't let them wear their hats backwards last year?
I did see that. I think that's crazy. Old school. Here, we're on the clock real quick, Doug. Is there anybody? RQ has Ricky Pearsall, Hawkinson, Jahan Dotson. I put Cousins and Stafford in there just for the sake of it, but Marshawn Lloyd's on the board as well. Anybody you're interested in?
Yeah, maybe Ricky Pearsall.
Yeah, why not? It's a good
I like Ricky just in case they end up moving Ayuk, which exactly. I don't think they're going to move Ayuk.
I agree.
They signed these guys right before camp. They signed Debo. If anything, I think they find some way to get Debo out of town and keep Ayuk.
I agree. I'm with you 100% there.
So, but if he's out, then obviously your per sale stocks go way up.
Mm-hmm. Pearsall's a good wide receiver too. People sleep on him. I don't, for whatever reason, I think he's very solid. I think he'll be a good slot receiver. He's a good route running wide receiver. He's pretty athletic. He's actually more athletic than you think. So he's a really good player there.
No, I agree.
Doug, do you go for known commodities here, or do you start throwing some dart throws at potential rookies that are going to explode with high upside? Because that's what we're looking at right now.
On my previous best balls, and I've probably done 15 or 20 of these, I guess, I start throwing darts at the rookies here.
Okay.
Maybe just because it's fun.
Because Jermaine Burton's there.
I like Jermaine Burton.
Yeah, but there's some people on the board that are pretty intriguing.
Yeah.
Roman Wilson's even there. I'll put him in our queue just for the sake of it. Adam Thielen, he started off hot, then he kind of cooled off at the end of the year last year.
I have a hard time seeing him getting a lot of targets in that offense.
Yeah.
I refuse to get Bateman stocks anymore.
Yeah, absolutely not. I have him in one dynasty league. I'm trying to get rid of him. I might actually even cut him, but it's a waste. He broke my heart several times.
For best ball purposes, Luke McCaffrey and Ben Sinnott probably not that big of a deal, but I am scooping those guys up in dynasty at a pretty good rate.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good call. I agree with that. Exactly. That's the beautiful thing about all these different versions, Doug. And I think I'm learning about this and getting, picking up more and more about this whole draft thing. Every type of league, you have to look at the league parameters and league rules and then draft to that, right? It's a different strategy for every type of fantasy you're going to play.
And now that we're both in, congratulations, we can start doing like some Scott Fish mock draft type things, because the rules for that thing this year are really wacky.
Yeah, you and I can sit down together because we're actually in the same division too, so we can help each other out a little bit too, which would be interesting.
Okay. Yeah, we're both in the Donatello Ninja Turtles division, right?
Yep. We're on the clock. So Kirk Cousins is the highest pick on the board. Jermaine Burton, Matthew Stafford, Roman Wilson. I'll have him in my queue. Do we take Cousins and just have a just whatever?
I've got no problem going Cousins here.
Yeah, why not, right? Just whatever. I think so for a best ball league, having Jaden Daniels, Tua, and Cousins, that's going to be awesome. I
think you're guaranteed to get a 25-30 spot from your quarterback every week, which is huge.
Absolutely. And you need that because that can carry you every single week, which is great.
And I frankly love the Cousins Bijan Robinson duo because they're going to give Robin, we know who's down there running the offense, and we know who's down there as the head coach now. And Raheem knows a little bit about Cousins, and I think they're going to he's going to be the ultimate point guard this year.
I agree. And we did it kind of randomly, but we also did have some intention with it. We have some stacks, we have Tua with Jalen Waddle, we have Kirk Cousins with Bijan. We have them both on our team, so We have little mini stacks
Yep.
or pairings, as Bob
Pairings.
Harris would say. Exactly. We have those, so that's funny.
Bob Harris definitely wanted to make sure we knew there was a difference between a pair and a stack.
Absolutely.
And we have the Washington stack. Actually, we've got the Washington stack.
With Terry and Jaden. Yeah, we do. We got 3 little things going on. There we go.
Why wouldn't we?
All right. Anybody on the board that's intriguing to you? So where it kind of gets kind of slim. Adam Thielen was pretty solid. He actually had a good rapport with Bryce Young last year. I wouldn't mind him. He's a low floor kind of guy. So I don't know if we love that, but who else is up there? Even that's intriguing.
Our guy Antonio Gibson might be good in
in a bus ball league. We're on the board right now.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's up to you. I'll let you have this round. Who do you want?
Oh, let's go Thielen.
Yeah, I was going to say I'd rather have Thielen of the two, but I was going to be a gentleman. Pick whoever you want.
Defer to me.
I was going to defer to you. Yeah, I like Thielen better there because he could potentially be the wide receiver one there.
Who knows what they got going down there?
Yeah, it's crazy. Chuba Hubbard, Bucky Irving.
I like Malachi Corley, but I'm not sure I like him this year.
Exactly, I agree with you there. Exactly, and that's another thing, dynasty and basketball, right? Like we were looking at simply this year, who has the highest, who has the
Troy
biggest.
Franklin there, William George.
Troy Franklin, okay.
I actually like the idea of him getting work in that offense this year.
Mm-hmm. Will Levis, we already have enough quarterbacks at this point.
We do, but it's interesting with Will. You can get him so late, and they've done everything they can. Like they'll know when this year's up whether he can play or not because they went out and got him talent.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, did they put? Is that where Hopkins ended up? Is he back there at Tennessee? Mm-hmm. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then they added Calvin Ridley to that team that I really like. They added some good running backs to the room. They could have something interesting going on over there.
Yeah, it's intriguing over there. Odell Beckham late, Keaton Mitchell. I'm throwing a couple people they kind of popped to me that I've kind of seen over the years.
Latavian Sanders again, whether he'll hit this year for best ball or whether he's more of a dynasty play, but the backup, I think he starts as the starting tight end there, and so that would be interesting.
Yeah, for sure. So I threw a couple in the queue, Doug. Do any of those kind of stand out to you? That's kind of where we're at. That's kind of where we're at right now with our picks. They're nothing beautiful. Edwards-Helaire is intriguing. Will Levis is probably the best player on the board in my opinion. Keaton Mitchell, I guess they have Derrick Henry there, but he has a change of pace kind of back in Baltimore. Beckham might be something to kind of have with our whole Miami stack if we want to go that route with it. I don't know.
I actually think I like Troy Franklin the best of the group that we have up there. Okay. Also, I just from what we see while we're doing these things, I think it's interesting that Ben Sinnott, I think, is a good 20 or 30 spots higher in ADP than Zach Ertz is.
Mm-hmm.
By all accounts, Zach Ertz will be the starting tight end in Washington for at least to start the season. Now, how long that lasts? Maybe it doesn't last through training camp.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. The OTAs and training camp are basically two different worlds.
Yeah, Demario Douglas actually had a pretty good rapport with Mac Jones last year. But I'll put him on there. But he was pretty solid. He had in the PPR league, was pretty decent. But I agree with you. I think looking at this board, the most explosive player on here is probably Troy Franklin. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for dart throws, right? So let's go for it in best ball league. Troy Franklin, I agree. Maybe Odell Beckham on the way back if he's still floating around. I think it's gonna, there might be a game where the Miami Dolphins score 70 points, and then we have Jalen Waddle too and Beckham going crazy. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, the Odell Beckham stands are still out there hard, and I just don't see it personally.
I think it's kind of washed too, to be honest with you.
I think there's a better chance that the rookie Malik Washington gets more snaps this year than Odell Beckham does.
We heard a lot about him during the pre-draft, you and I, for sure.
Damn, AJ tried telling me that Odell Beckham Jr. would be the second best receiver on our team.
Nah.
Come on, man.
Come on, mate. put Jatavian Sanders on there just for the heck of it. Just Jalen Hyatt. Now I don't really trust that too much. Will Shipley, Kendrick Bourne.
I appreciate that where we've gotten to a place where we're not really including kickers anymore.
Yeah, exactly. I like that as well. I'm going to put MVS on here. And for Buffalo, he could have something. He could pop a little bit. He's always open, but he just drops the ball. That's the problem with MVS.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's an interesting offense they've put together up there.
They did.
I think we always said it here, and then they just would never do it. But Curtis Samuel can play outside receiver. Like,
yeah,
this notion that he's a gadget receiver and he's only on the clock now, George.
All right. Is there anybody that stands out to you? RQ is the best that I found. Is there ones you like on there?
Just take a stab.
Yeah. Let's either Beckham or Edwards-Helaire for me. What's our running backs looking like? Let's do shit. This sucks. This is not a good situation to be in. I'm gonna do Beckham just for the hell of it. Why not? But yeah, maybe I'll do Edwards-Helaire on the way up. Like who is the RB1 in Kansas City right now? Is this still Edwards-Helaire? It's not, right? It's Pacheco.
No, it's Pacheco, yeah.
Pacheco. Okay.
Pacheco is actually an interesting pick too, because you could see it a little bit last year. They definitely had moved to like a more run-heavy offense, and possibly that's because they didn't trust the receivers they had. And Kelsey, I think, was probably hurt most of the year, but they definitely feel like they've tried to slow it down compared to, say, what they were doing 2 years ago when it was big chunk plays all over the place.
Good quarterbacks. I mean, we're already pretty stacked at quarterback anyway, but let me take a look. No, pretty much all the starters are gone at this point. Deshaun Watson still floating around. McCarthy.
Bo Nix, I think, is going to end up being the day one starter in Denver.
I can see that. Running backs, Roshan Johnson. He's a great hype at every single. I got him. I have a lot of shares of him in dynasty leagues. Someone was all hyping him up because he was behind Bijan Robinson at Texas, and he had a higher yards per carry. But like haven't seen anything in the NFL so far.
Yeah,
even when he had
that Dylan Lobb, everybody keeps talking about too. I hear him a bunch.
Oh, really? I'll put him on here. I don't really know much about him, to be honest. What's his deal?
I'm not sure if he's the back. He's a rookie from a small school.
I think
Edie from the Junkies actually is the first guy I heard talking about him.
Okay.
And I think he's the backup to Zamir White.
And there's a
and
clear path.
Right. I think he's the two. If he's number 3, then that's not quite as enticing. I'm trying to think who is the backup to Zamir. That's another guy, Georgia side, who's got the opportunity to get a lot of touches in Las Vegas. Particularly if the new coach is going to want to play defense and just kind of control the clock, because frankly, you don't want to put the ball in either one of the quarterback's hands and say, go do it. I don't think. That's a weird setup they got down there in Vegas right now.
Absolutely. Yeah, they're going to be tanking probably, right? I think they kind of were hoping Jane Daniels would fall to them, but it didn't work out.
Well, I think they were hoping to trade up for Jaden Daniels, or Washington said no thanks. And then I really truly believe they thought Penix was going to be there.
I agree with that.
It was the fallback plan for them. And then he got sniped 2 picks ahead. Well, I guess 3 since it was Atlanta.
So we're on the clock. We're on the board real quick.
I've been pissed.
Yeah. Anybody that says that in our queue? Do you want to take MVS as a high upside play potentially?
That's fine.
All right, cool. Because everyone else doesn't really look that great, to be honest.
No, and it sounds like the kid they drafted maybe is a little farther off than they realized.
Exactly. He's a great media guy, but not necessarily a refined player yet, you know?
Yeah, refined is the right word.
We probably need a running back pretty soon. We only have 3. We have Bijan, DeAndre Swift, and Austin Eckler. I wish we had Nick Chubb. That's going to haunt us, I think, man. I think we would have if we had him.
Good, right?
Yeah, it would have been good. I'm guessing we're getting pretty close to the end, right? We have 9, 12, 15. We've had 17 picks so far. I wonder how many rounds we get into.
At least 18.
Yeah, we have 9 wide receivers, 2 tight ends, 3 running backs, 3 quarterbacks. Yeah, trying to fly off the board now. And I'm glad there's no kickers or defenses like you talked about.
Yeah. Have you gotten into IDP much?
I haven't. Like, I mean, there's been a couple leagues where like I kind of dabbled into it, but I find that like, you get a linebacker, you get a strong safety that gets a lot of tackles for you, and you kind of like or maybe a great edge rusher, and you kind of set it and forget it. For me, that's what I've been doing. And like I think you and I are in one together, right? In IDP.
We are. Yeah, I think the one we opened it up all the way.
Yeah. So I mean, they're cool. I mean, I just feel like it's intriguing because you get to learn about more players. I don't mind doing like 1 or 2, but I feel like it's just so like it's hard to predict. You have to kind of get like if you get a strong middle linebacker that's a racks up tackle and a strong safety that's really strong, the same thing. You can kind of like I don't know how much strategy goes into it, or maybe I'm not looking into it. Well, I have no idea yet.
Well, the one thing, like Lindsay Rhodes said, she didn't play it, and I said, "Well, you should try it. It's fun. It's just it's another way to play." And she was like, well, "The one thing that I don't like about that is that like the number one corner, say nobody throws to him. So like the best corner may not actually be the best player because now I've got to look at, well, they aren't going to throw to Sauce Gardner, so maybe I need to be picking cornerback 2. And she was like, it feels like rewarding somebody for being the second best on purpose is weird. But
yeah,
what are you looking at here, George?
I mean, for me, Gesicki is Cincinnati Bengals tight end, or Madison because he could potentially become a starting running back in Las Vegas. What I'm looking at there.
Well, I'd say if we're going tight end, we might as well go with the home team guy. Or if you want to go Madison, that's fine.
Sorry, I hurry up. Time was going to run out. I just grabbed Ertz real quick. All right, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we got some good tight ends.
So that's it. That's our draft.
It's over?
Yep. We're just waiting for the rest of them to go.
Cool. Yeah, I'll screenshot the actual the final results and then we'll put it on Twitter and we'll see what people think. It was fun. It was a fun little exercise, but I'll definitely we'll keep us in the rotation for sure.
Yeah, I like this. And this you said this was your first time ever doing the best ball, huh, George?
Yeah, 100%.
Now you're going to be a DGen.
Exactly right. It was. We talk about it all the time, and I get the premise of it, but I think you're right. This is opening up some bad doors for me, Doug. Thank you for doing that. I guess it's awesome.
No problem. Yeah. So let's take a quick look here at what ended up looking like.
Yeah. So looking at this real quickly over here, I'm hopefully it'll be a full screen, but I like what we have, man. I think we came out. We got Jaden Daniels, Tua, and Kirk Cousins at the quarterback position. I like that because I feel like there's safety and high upside in our quarterback room. I think Jaden Daniels could blow up every single week, but so could Tua or Kirk Cousins. At the very least, they're going to have a high floor there, which I like there for sure. Let's take a look. Let's see if our actual thing pops up real quick. Can we do this? There you go. And then view full draft, or I can go down this way. Running back room, Bijan Robinson. I like that. Like, I guess that's one thing we can look at. And if you want to pull up the full draft, you can look at that as well. That was the one intriguing spot, sitting at 7. It's like, do you take one of the best running backs off of the board? Or do you take like the 4th or 5th best wide receiver? You kind of have to make that decision. We let it go Bijan, which I'm not upset with. I think it's going to be, maybe some other wide receiver, like the wide receiver we could have selected probably would have scored more, if that makes any sense. But the wide receivers are deeper, in my opinion, right?
View full draft real quick, George. Okay. Let's see some of the couple players that were sitting there.
Exactly, right? So let's go over here. So Bijan Robinson, Breece Hall went immediately afterwards. A.J. Brown's always intriguing. Puka Nacua, Garrett Wilson, Jonathan Taylor, Malik Neighbors, Jahmyr Gibbs. I'll be honest with you, none of those scare me. A.J. Brown was probably the one
I think I'm with you, George. If we had gone a different direction, it would have only been to A.J. Brown. Mm-hmm. And then you're hoping that maybe Jahmyr Gibbs comes back around on the other time around. Or at that point, what are the next couple of picks after that?
Exactly. So, it's funny. You and I have done so many shows now, Doug. Like, people are saying that it's funny that Malik Neighbors came off the board before Marvin Harrison Jr. I feel like that's pretty interesting.
I did too.
And then we've talked to so many big industry fantasy guys. They're like, Marvin Harrison is going too rich. People are kind of really excited about the name and taking him ahead of established players like Brennan Ayuk and Olave and Nico Collins and stuff like that, which I find pretty interesting. Like Nico Collins is not a household name, like unless you really know football, right? Like he could potentially be that true number one for CJ Stroud, and we got him pretty late there, like 2-9. So he's going to pick number 18 or 20, whatever that is, so pretty high up there.
Yeah, for us to be able to come back and get Jalen Waddle and after the turn, I actually thought was really nice.
Yeah, I agree. Like in retrospect, because things were flying at that point, and I was just trying to figure out how to use the navigation at first. Like maybe Nico Collins or Jalen Waddle could have been like, that's the going back and forth. Like which one would I have taken there? Like I think either one's fine, but I think the fact that we saved ourselves by getting Tank Dell later on, like Tank Dell might even be just as good or better than Nico Collins, right? So we lucked out a little bit. We kind of diversified our wide receiver room a little bit.
Because we tend to think so much in terms of dynasty, I think. I think that guys like Mike Evans and Devontae Adams are being
undervalued.
Yeah, undervalued. Like Mike Evans is still Mike Evans, you know what I mean? Like he has, to me, he hadn't started dropping yet.
Yeah, he always produces every year.
Yeah.
This was a high value little range right here. Look at this. These are great picks. Kyron Williams. So A-Chain, Kyron Williams, Stephon Diggs, Metcalf. We got Tank Dell. So we kind of missed out on a great little run. But then Derrick Henry, Jalen Hurts, Cooper Kupp, even Kelsey at the end. That's a great. The third round value was huge there.
The third round is interesting, right? Will you scroll a little bit more? Who comes there after Kelsey? Because I didn't even notice when he came off.
Yeah, Pickens, Allen, McBride. I felt like people love McBride, but we forgot because they dropped it by so quick. Getting Sam Laporta at 460, that was a great pick for us. I love that.
It was awesome. To see the other guys go first. I was surprised by that.
Absolutely. I know Zay Flowers. I had Zay Flowers last year. He's a great wide receiver. I loved him I have him in a non-PPR league, and he was a pretty solid player there. So in the PPR, even better. So I'm a big Zay Flowers guy. I would have taken him over T. Higgins as well. I agree with that. Lamar Jackson was flitting around in the end of the fourth round. This is a nice little stretch right here too. Jackson,
Hollywood Brown in that area. People forget that. I mean, he's number one receiver for Patrick Mahomes right now. So
exactly,
he probably is not getting as drafted as much as he probably deserves to be.
I agree.
We've talked about it on the podcast, George. I see Keenan Allen go by there. What to make of the Chicago offense, I think, will also be interesting.
That's for me. That's what I'm most intrigued.
DeAndre Swift's going to get like literal target shares. And I saw somebody the other day suggest, well, what if they ended up treating Rome Odunze like Detroit did with Jahmyr Gibbs and slowly kind of worked him in there? And so, good. That makes it a lot easier.
I like that. That's awesome. Cool.
Yeah. So if they do, then that, pushes Rome Odunze down where you'd want to be drafting him if they're going to like roll him in slowly. So that Chicago offense, I think, is one that will be interesting. Plus, they already got DJ Moore and they added Keenan Allen.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really interesting. Obviously we're a commander centric, I think I love our show because we do the Commanders, but we also focus on the entire NFL. Yeah. Looking outside of the Commanders, to me, I think the Bears are super intriguing. I find the Texans super intriguing. I find the Eagles super intriguing. Those offenses are awesome. They're very explosive. They have high-powered running backs. It's going to be really cool. I'm really excited about that.
Detroit is not being considered a high-power offense, but if Jameson Williams takes a step forward this year, they got talent. Like that thing could be really interesting.
Cool. This is great. I'm actually going to take a picture of this once we're offline, make it full screen, and screenshot this and put it on our board. And I think it'll be awesome.
Put it up there and let people roast us.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
All right, George. Well, this is great. We'll if we don't do one of these once a week, we'll definitely start doing them more often.
I love it, 100%. We've got a great time.
Okay. All right, brother. See you. Yep.
See you, man.